I'm still working on collecting some data from the workshops, and what I'm going to do is make a real quick video to kind of document what happens when certain things are done at workshops. I know that's fairly vague, and in case you haven't had a chance to see the previous videos, what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out at what point the workshop numbers are going wonky in a Pip-Boy. Now this is without any kind of disassembly or anything like that. We're just looking strictly at the numbers and trying to figure out what's triggering this type of programmatic behavior. Okay, so back into the game. Yesterday when I was playing, I had acquired this workshop. This is Jamaica Plains. And when I clicked on the workbench, when I actually click on this workbench in here, these workbenches, the minute that you click on it and you go into workshop mode, let's make sure I'm not being attacked. The minute that you click on that and go into workshop mode, if you look at the workshop numbers, you will see that Jamaica Plains, and this is true of just about any of the games, everything was the bed count. Well, the beds were, see, the beds are 1, the power was 1, water was 1, and food was 1. Now, what's interesting is I had completed a kind of modding test let's play yesterday, and you can see in that video where once you click on that workshop, those numbers are replicated. When I reloaded the game just a few minutes ago, these numbers were still 1. Beds were 1, power 1, water 1, food 1. I exited out, wanted to check a few of the statistics over here in this section over here, in this area here. Let me highlight some of these. I wanted to really check out these, like those. I wanted to check out those. And then, of course, I exited the game. But now when I go back into the game, you can see the numbers are correct because there's no people here, there's no food, there's no beacon, there's no power, there's nothing. There is 1 bed, and that's it. But like I was saying, this just a few minutes ago, it was showing all 1s for bed, power, water, and food, which meant that every time you load your game, there is some initialization that is happening, that it's either being skipped or there's something happening in those initializations, or you can call them loads. A lot of times they say things aren't loading. I think the problem is they're not initializing, because in a workshop, the objects that I can walk through, like let's say I'm in a settlement, I can walk through walls. The minute I transition that cell, I can walk through some walls. So the objects are loading, otherwise you wouldn't see them. But the physics and the collision are not being associated with that wall. I have to save and reload, immediately save and reload again while I'm in that settlement, and then all of a sudden the objects have their what you visually see as the object is now I don't want to say physically, but in the virtual world, it is now physically connected to its physics. So now it has, God, I keep wanting to call it clipping. Oh my God, my brain is not working this morning. Anyways, you can't walk through it. All right, so, God, that's terrible. It must be like early Alzheimer's. But anyways, back to this. So this one is now correct. And the only difference was I exited the game and reloaded it. Like literally just exited out and reloaded it. So there's something happening in the initialization where it's catching that load. Now, if you look at Sanctuary, I had gone back to Sanctuary. The numbers at Sanctuary yesterday were beds 38, water 38, and food 38, power 38. All those were 38s, which was the bed count replicated. I went back to Sanctuary, dumped off some stuff that was in my inventory. So I didn't do anything there. I did not go into the workshop at all. I did not go into the workshop. I didn't click on the workbench. Well, that is not entirely true. I transferred items to the workshop, so I did have to go into it. That is true. But I didn't go into workshop mode. So I didn't go to build anything. I didn't go to scrap anything. Nothing like that. I just went into workshop mode. I just went up to the workshop, clicked R to transfer, and then I started transferring my stuff to it. That's what I did. Put armor in, you know, I went over to the armor workbench, took my combat armor, you know, basically made it shadowed, and then just kind of brought all my gear up to speed, up to my current perk level. That's pretty much all I did. When I was done with that, I fast traveled back out to Jamaica Plain. So I did interact with the workbench, but I did not go into workshop mode. Now you can see that the beds, the water, the food are correct. Now in the previous one, they were correct. Remember, because I kind of logged on, went to clean up my character for the next, you know, kind of let's play modded test run to get it ready, to get everything ready to go, so I wouldn't have to have a lot of redundant stuff. So there were actually 2 times that I started the game, launched the game, went to Sanctuary, and then fast traveled here to Jamaica Plains, exited the game, checked the numbers, went back into the game, and you can see that Sanctuary is correct. Even Jamaica Plains is correct. So this is either I caught the script, because this is daytime and all these numbers are correct, because there is no people, there's no food. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to go to, let's say, let's go to Starlight Drive-In and let's activate the beacon. So we're going to activate, but we're only going to activate one beacon at a time, because right now, if you take a look, the only workshops that have any settlers are 10 Pine Bluff, because they were there. There's no new settlers. There's no beacon there. Sanctuary, because that's the ones that came from Concord, and I believe Dogmeat is going to count as well. And then you've got Abernathy Farm, because those are the 3 that was there: the mother, the father, and the daughter. So there was the 3 characters there. So let's go in and let's turn on Sunshine Tidings Co-op. So we're going to go there next. Now, I know they talk about you shouldn't really fast travel out of a settlement, but I'm going to do that. So let's just go ahead, because I know it's quirky. Well, let me rephrase that. If something happens, it's unexpected, and then somebody says, "Oh, if you step out of a settlement and then fast travel, and it works," that does not work, because it still happens when I step out of a settlement. So it's not fast traveling in a settlement that's causing the problem. So if I add a bunch of little quirky things to do to try to prevent something from happening, which may or may not actually work, the game becomes a complete contest of, it's like a game of chess with quirks. So that's not going to work. All right, so we want to go to Sunshine Tidings, and we're going to activate the beacon. To do this, I'm going to have to probably TCL. I'm not going to go into workshop mode. I'm going to completely stay out of that. I don't know if, like I said, going into workshop mode, I don't know if that triggers a refresh or something on the numbers. I'm not sure. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to TCL up. And hopefully nothing attacks us when we're here. And that way we won't have to deal with that. Alright, so let's do a TCL. Okay, make sure it wasn't. Alright, let's get up here to this particular beacon. Let's TCL back, make ourselves solid. Okay, I believe that worked. And we're green. Okay. Let's hop off. Alright, so we should automatically have, once we activated that, I don't know how Workshop Framework, I don't know if it actually triggers, once I activate that, it literally, I'm not sure about the scripting, but I'm just going to guess here, that maybe somehow it triggered an event. Let's see, I'm assuming that is working. That has power. Okay, I'm going to have to go into workshop mode. Let's see, let's just check this. Okay, it shows I can't even talk. Sunshine Tidings shows no people. Okay, it does have power. I don't think this is going to matter. Alright, we'll just kind of reset it there. Okay. Okay, so we turned on the beacon. So we're going to leave that beacon on and see what happens. And I wanted to kind of show this just to document it so you can see it. Okay, now notice how, now take a look. Once I went into workshop mode and came back out, that's all I did. You can now see the beds are 28, the power's 28, the water's 28, and the food is 28 at Sunshine Tidings Co-op. So I don't think it's so much clicking on the workbench. I believe it's going into workshop mode. So once you first go into workshop mode, the numbers are getting scrambled. And I'm wondering if that's an event. So let's double check it again. Yeah, see, it's completely scrambled. And that's the only one that is scrambled. Okay, so that way we can kind of document that going into workshop mode is what has done that. Now, there's nothing in these workshops. There's nothing in these workshops that are a third-party mod except, and I think I've got it over here. Let's go this way. Except, where are you? I know you're in here. It's this. Right? This is just a universal disassembler. That's the only third-party mod I'm pretty sure that I have in the game. Oh, other than, okay, so you've got, and I know that's not the problem, but I'm just doing this to try to, in case anybody has any questions when they watch this. So that is third-party. This is third-party. This is iDeck Desk. And this happened even with or without iDeck. Now, take a look at, remember how we had a lamp problem before, right? Okay, let's go back into workshop mode, take a look. Okay, this lamp has power. This lamp does not. So there is something, it's not fully initializing a workshop. The settlements are not fully initializing for some reason. So we're going to try something here. Okay, so Sunshine Tidings is still 28. See, bed count, power, water, and food is still 28. And that changed. Everything was okay until, even when we got here, it was fine. Until we went into workshop mode. Even after I'm pretty sure, I have to go back and look at the video because I didn't notice. I don't think turning on the beacon made a difference. So there should be some settlers coming in. Now, normally workshop framework, the minute that you activate a beacon, okay, good. There you go. Now we have one person. So good. It should automatically generate some settlers. And I believe that's, and I can't tell you though, because normally I believe I have set up in workshop framework, and I'll double check here, that once you have any settlers at all, once you turn on the beacon, it should automatically generate some random number settlers, 1 to 3, I think. This could be the one settler coming into Sunshine Tidings, could be from workshop framework. It could be automatically generated by the beacon. Let me save this real quick so I can have this in case something weird happens. So I can't tell you which one it is. I have no idea. But hopefully this won't take too long. If the game actually, my application will kill the game if it gets stuck for too long. Let's hope that mod config does not get stuck. Because if it does, my game, I think I've got it set to about 30 seconds. Alright, let's see. We are looking for workshop framework. Where are you? That was down here at the bottom. Here we go. Workshop framework. I'm pretty sure that I have this set to, let's see. Cap settlers by bed count. Yeah, let's see. Consume, enable production fix. Heavily capping. Not sure about that. Yeah, see, I do have recruit settlers immediately. A small number of new settlers immediately. So that could have been that. It may not have been that. In the framework controls, I do have persistent resource objects turned on. I do have that. Power grid auto repair. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to turn that off because I'm pretty sure the DLL doesn't load or doesn't work. Persist resource objects is fine. Auto show. So I'm gonna, these two are on. I'm gonna turn these off. I don't know if that's gonna make a difference. I wouldn't imagine it would. Let me save this to make sure that's saved in whatever new game I've got. I don't think that would. Okay, so let's take a look at our numbers here. Okay, we do have one person. Sunshine Tidings is still replicating the bed count. Okay, so that happened when I went into Workshop, and I think, of course, whenever you acquire Workshop and you click on the actual workbench, not the workbench, but the actual workshop itself, the physical workshop, or the virtual / physical workshop, you are going to go into Workshop mode. It's going to automatically put you in that mode. I have no idea where the settler is, so I don't even know if they're in this settlement yet. I could probably ring a bell or something, and I don't want to tie up a really, really long video looking for a settler. What I'm curious is it automatically has a settler here. The food is actually incorrect, because the food is the bed count. So I'm wondering, once they start production, if that would change. So I was curious, you know, let's say you have initial variables are set. It's almost like I'm still trying to wrap my mind around exactly how this is happening, but I do believe it happens the moment you go into Workshop mode. Like as far as I know, I can replicate it every single time with a brand new settlement. So once I go into Workshop mode, it is there. The numbers are incorrect, and I don't see. There he is. Okay, nope, that is not him. I was thinking, wow, it grabbed something. It grabbed the settler. Yeah, I don't see him anywhere. Okay, so he might be on the way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video short, but I wanted to actually show, I wanted to document that, just in case anyone was interested in seeing when that happens. And to actually note it, and actually to show that the lamp here, this lamp right here had power just fine, but this lamp did not power up. So somehow it's skipping, it's skipping objects. And I believe it's the, if you notice, all the objects are present. Every single object is present. Whether the physics is present or not, I can't tell you, because without physics, a lamp is not going to fall to the ground. So I couldn't tell you if the physics is present. So I'm thinking that objects are loaded, and then let me ponder this for a moment. Give me a second to ponder this. So it's almost like the objects need to be loaded without physics, and then there needs to be a thread that loads the clipping. Let me think. I know I'm kind of thinking out loud here, where I can clip through something. Okay, the object needs to load along with the clipping. So to me, once an object is loaded, it's clipping. Should the mesh, oh God, I can't even think of it. It's where you can't even walk through something. The collision mesh. Oh my God, my brain is not working today. The collision mesh should load exactly. The collision mesh should load exactly at the time the object loads, because the collision mesh is associated with the object. So that should not be in a thread. The collision should not be in a thread. There should not be a loading of an object and then the collision should be loaded. Unless, the only conceivable thing I can think of that would cause this kind of confusion is if for some reason it is a non-instanced variable. If they're using a global variable and the threading is getting confused, and I doubt very seriously they would do that, but given some of the coding that you've seen from major companies or even outsourced, it's possible. So the object is loaded, the collision should be loaded at that point, because the object is exactly where it's supposed to be, but the collision can be all over the map. And then the physics of it, to me, would have to be, I'm thinking based on height. It'd have to be hierarchical based on what is the lowest object to the highest object, to make sure things don't fall through each other. So physics doesn't load when the object loads. So that way you would have the objects loading The textures are fine. There's nothing wrong with the textures. There's nothing wrong with the placement of objects, although objects do have a tendency to occasionally be slightly off where they're supposed to be. You go into workshop mode, you select the object, and you can see the object jump to its proper position. So they're not being placed in the proper position. And I'm not sure if Transfer Settlements is doing that yet, or if that is the game doing that when it loads the cell. I'm kind of leaning towards Transfer Settlements. I'm not really sure why, and I don't know. When I do it, what I need to do is I need to do, and this is just me talking out loud just to kind of document it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a 2-point test. The first time I'm going to just add some objects in, and then I'm going to select those objects, reselect them again to see if they move. If they don't, then I'm going to run around for a little bit, and I have those. I've got those in Abernathy Farm, so we can go straight over to Abernathy Farm. So you know what? Let's do that right now. Let's go over to Abernathy. I think I can do an R. All right, let's do an Abernathy here. Let's fast travel. At Abernathy, I just simply put in turrets. So those are manually there. I did not use Transfer Settlements because I noticed that some of the objects are not being placed properly, and I'm beginning to suspect that it has something to do with Transfer Settlements, or it has something to do with how Transfer Settlements and the game is interacting when it adds the objects. Okay, so let's just check any numbers here just to kind of make sure. Abernathy is fine. Let's check Sunshine Tidings. See, it's still janked up.
Blake told me what you did for us, for Mary. I know it's not much, but any trading you want to do, I'll go easy on the price. Let me know if there's anything you want to take a look at.
Don't need anything today.
Suit yourself.
That's kind of rude. What would be nice if they would have put something where you could put some kind of memento or remembrance on Mary's grave in the back. That would be nice. So at least would tie you to the game world a little bit. Okay, so here we go. I haven't moved it yet. See, you see how it moves just a little bit. So obviously, I don't believe that's my imagination. I don't believe that's my eyes playing persistent trick, you know, like a color persistence or a visual persistence trick. See how it moves a little bit? Okay. In Sanctuary, it was worse. So Sanctuary, things would jump quite a bit. So let's run that way real quick. In fact, let's just do a quick load here. All right, where is Sanctuary? Let's go ahead and do Sanctuary real fast. Not there. Here we go. And this video actually turned out to be a little bit longer than what I expected. But there's just something about object placing that is janky, and I'm not sure what that is, because you should have an absolute XYZ, but I believe it is not a long value. I believe it is a floating point. If I'm not, I could be mistaken, but I believe the XYZ value is floating point. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so let's take a look at objects. Let's go into workshop mode. Take a look. I think I moved this once before. Can I select this? What the? Okay. God, dog. What in the world? Oh, I get this really weird thing where I just start moving for no reason. I can't even find it. There, where it's got? It's got such a small mesh. Ugh, Lord. Okay, that one's fine. That looks good. Let's take a look at this. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look bad. Not bad. It doesn't look bad. That, I might have moved that myself. Let me try where I don't actually move the keyboard. Let's check this out. See how those move a little bit? That's fine. Ooh, I've hit something. What did I hit? There, see, I've hit some kind of weird clipping thing. There's nothing here. See, there's nothing here. See that? There is nothing there. So, collision mesh, the collision data, thinks that something's here, which now magically it clears up. All right, let's see. Okay, there's it. Well, no, that's fine. Ignore that. That's fine. Because I might have moved it closer to where it's supposed to be. Let's go this way. Let's try some towers. That's fine. How about this? There. Well, See, that's a good example right there. I don't believe I sunk that in the ground. I may have. It is possible. But I don't believe that I did. That moves a little bit from its current point. That's fine. That's fine. So it looks like it's just some objects. One of the biggest objects that moved was the benches over here. These benches, oh, let's see, there's some benches back here. Yeah, and I apologize. This video is turning out to be way longer than what I intended. Okay, that's fine. That's interesting. So now everything seems to be okay. That moved a little bit. Okay, that's obviously going to move. I could have moved that out. I more than likely moved that out with place everywhere. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I don't have any really good examples here, so... But this bench up here jumped way out. This bench right here was way over here on the sidewalk, which it was not placed there. That's not where it was placed. Okay, so I don't want to spend a lot of time doing this and just wasting a lot of your time or everyone's time just kind of trying to watch me figure out what may or may not have that kind of or be out of place. But I did notice that. I do notice that a lot of times the foundations will move up from where they're supposed to be. So when you go into workshop mode, a foundation might be 10, like anywhere from 3 to 8 pixels lower than, or points lower than where it should, and when you click it, it magically works. So I'm not sure what in the game engine is potentially doing that. Okay, so let's go ahead. This is gonna be a starting point for the next Let's Play modded testing. So what I'm gonna do is let me go in and take a look at the data one more time so we can have some ending figures. Abernathy Farm. Let's see. Look at Abernathy Farm. I went into workshop mode at Abernathy Farm. I had to go in to actually test the turrets and look at the numbers. The bed count is replicated. Power, water, food is replicated in Abernathy. Jamaica Plains is fine. Red Rocket is fine. Look at Sanctuary now. Sanctuary was okay. The minute I went into workshop mode, beds, power, water, and food are now replicated. Starlight Drive-In, we didn't go there. Sunshine Tidings, replicated. Taffington Boathouse, we're not there, that's fine. And Ten Pines Bluff is fine. So every place I went to, Abernathy Farm, Sanctuary, Sunshine Tidings, where I entered workshop mode, the food, water, and power became the bed count. Good. So that to me, that gets me a little bit closer to something that can be absolutely that's absolutely replicatable. Now, I don't know if I cannot say if a mod is causing the issue, because the only mods that I know that affect the workshop, these are the only mods I know, are the mods that actually add objects, such as the universal disassembler, and that just adds it in the menu, and I can't believe that would cause an issue. I do believe I have the oh my gosh, I can't think of what it's called. It's I don't know if I can see it this way. It's called let me see. Let's do a find. Whoops, we got to get over here. There we go. Let's do a find. Is it menu? See, I've got settlement menu manager here, right here. This, that affects the menu, and I do have some things. Well, I think that's all. I think that's it. There's really not. I really, because I wanted to build vanilla settlement, so there's really not much that is going to cause a problem. Or let me rephrase that. There's not much that's going to affect workshop. Sorry, I'm kind of thinking as I talk. Yeah, so the only thing that affects workshop is workshop framework and settlement menu manager and universal disassembler. And I don't think those would cause the issue, but I'm just trying to get the variables. Those are the only 3 variables I can think of. Over here, we'll take a look at this real quick. Over here, this is when I save the game again. So this is the last save that I did, but this is the one where I'm getting errors, and it looks like we picked up a couple SS2 warnings, which they're more likely warnings, but we can see what they're going to show. Because sometimes the symptom of one thing is not the problem, but it could actually point to something else, something that might actually be the issue. Okay, looks like we got pace. And what I'll do, I will go ahead and zip these up. So what we'll do is, and just in case they are of any value, let's go ahead and we're going to go to desktop here. Let me see. Let's go up here to desktop. And let's save this as something. It's going to be an HTML list. So let's just put session warnings. Let's call it just session warnings 1. I think will be fine. Oh God, it's all caps. Okay, we got that, and it should pop up over here. Okay, there's our HTML. And then let's take a look. I'm going to grab this one because I don't want to make this video really, really long. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to generate an HTML list, and then we're going to call this, let's call it session, we'll just go down here. We'll grab this. We'll call it session warnings 2. Okay. And there's that. And I'll include these along with this video when I link it in the forums. Okay, so I'm going to cut this short. This has gone on, and I apologize. This went on way longer than what I would normally do. That was the whole idea behind streaming, because I can stream these type of videos directly to the server. I can put timestamps in them. I can still do that. But, all right, I'm going to cut this short and get ready for the things I need to do. And I hope somewhere this kind of helps track down what the problems might be. Okay, everyone, good luck, and I really hope this helps.